Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Leonardo Pasquale. I am the founder and CEO of Titan Clarity here in the US. I am the founder and CEO of Pasquale Solution back in Brazil. So I'm recording this video. Hope this is going to be real quick. Not so sure about that. Well, let's try it. So I'm recording this video to outline, to present to you what are the main differences between nearshore staffing and offshore staffing. First of all, what is IT staffing? We're talking about technology, IT, right? Well, obviously, staffing in general could be used for other areas, right? So first of all, what is staffing? Why the companies are always using staffing, outsourcing a lot, and why that works. So first of all, there's not only one reason for one to be using staffing. You use staffing because you have a lack of experts of this particular expertise, especially in IT. You use it because you want to focus in your own business, and sometimes you have only a project that is going to last like for 6 months, 12 months, sometimes even less. Well, that's pretty much it. Obviously, there are some other reasons. That's why you use staffing, and there's no way out. There's no way how to run from it, because the pace as which the projects are being created, are being needed, are much faster than we have people available. So we have to use staffing. Sometimes onshore staffing, sometimes nearshore staffing, and sometimes offshore staffing. In this video, I'm going to cover the main differences between nearshore staffing and offshore staffing. I'll start with offshore staffing because people already heard about that. And we're talking about the US, right? The US companies consuming these services, offshore staffing. So offshore staffing, offshore IT staffing will be when a company is taking services from companies in India, in China, Eastern Europe. And why this is offshore? Well, we're really talking about time zones, okay? So if we have a far time zone from the time zone that we have here in the US, and we have 4 time zones, if I'm not mistaken, yes, 4 time zones. If a region is really far away, like 7 hours, 12 hours, 13 hours ahead or in difference from the US time zones, it is considered offshore. And that's it. Within the offshore staffing, you will find India, China, or Asia, as a matter of fact. And you also have Eastern Europe. It's been some time that people has been using Russia, Ukraine, a lot of professional expertise from people that are in Eastern Europe, okay? So this is offshore, all right? And what is nearshore staffing for the US? Everything that is being done, that is being performed in the Americas continent, okay? Especially Latin America, obviously. So when you take services, when you buy services from Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, all of these countries, Costa Rica, I don't know how to say that with an English accent. I guess it is Costa Rica. I don't know, Costa Rica. Maybe it's Costa Rica. I'm not so sure. I'm Brazilian, right? I speak Portuguese. I don't speak Spanish. Maybe you don't know that, buddy. But let me tell you this. Some people don't know that. Brazilians, they don't speak Spanish. We speak Portuguese, so you know that. Why all of these countries are considered nearshore? Because they are in a similar time zone as in the US. For instance, when you compare Eastern time in America with the time in Brazil, we have only 1 hour of difference. I mean, right now it's 1:12 here in Eastern time in Florida. In Brazil right now it's 2:12, only 1 hour. When we are off the daylight savings, we have 2 hours of difference, but that's it. So this is kind of good. People sometimes prefer to work with nearshore because of that. Okay, so that's basically the main difference between offshore, so really far time zones, and nearshore. Now, let me try to outline what are the benefits and disadvantages of working with each one of these services from this region. So, first of all, I'm not here to talk bad about one region or the other. I'm just going to outline very honestly what I think are the main differences between them. So first of all, obviously, we have a lot of great people in India, China, people really senior guys, engineers, smart people. We have a lot of capable guys there, especially when we speak about technology, software engineer. Everybody knows that. And it's been some time that they are developing themselves in this area. So it's not a mystery, it's not a secret for anyone to a country like the US, even Europe, to get services from them. All right. And they have been developing themselves in this area, especially technology. So that was really easy for America and Europe to take this step in taking their services. And why is that? This is not only because of their great expertise, it's also because of their pricing. Okay, one of the main differences between nearshore and offshore, in terms of how offshore can be a bit better than nearshore, is the pricing. When we speak about software engineering, technology itself, we could say that for offshore region, the pricing will range from 15 an hour to around 25, something like that. Maximum will be something like 30. But it's pretty rare. So the most common pricing there will be around $20 an hour, final pricing, all right? And when we talk about shore staffing, we're talking about something from $35 an hour to $50 an hour. All right, okay, there is this. So it's a benefit of working with offshore. But obviously, there's no free meal here, right? There are some disadvantages of working with offshore. One of these advantages already outlined, which is the time zone. So obviously, it would be easier to be working with nearshore countries because of the time zone. So it doesn't matter if a company in India is saying, no, my guys, they are going to be working in your time zone. Obviously, they will sometimes. But anyway, you know that this is not their regular time. People could be getting tired. You know that you could face some sort of a problem because of that. But not only that, I know that the quality in general can be a bit lower when compared to the American, right? I know that the quality of the services, especially tech services in nearshore regions, are a bit better than offshore. But they're also a little bit more expensive, as already said. So there are these differences. There are also one difference between nearshore and offshore that people sometimes they tend not to say. I don't know why, but it's kind of obvious. There's obviously a culture difference between the countries in offshore region and the countries in near region. Well, we are kind of more similar to one another. We are Christians, Jews, so we have this Jew-Christian culture in the region. Obviously, we're not talking about religion, but we are talking about how the mind of one works, the values, how we approach the challenges in life, not only in professional projects. So that is obviously an advantage of US companies, US people working with nearshore, because it is more similar in terms of how professionals in the nearshore region handle the tasks, the challenges. So there is this difference too, but I wouldn't say that this is vital, that this is something that because of that US or Europe cannot work with Asia. Obviously, they could, and they are working much more with Asia, especially India and China. So this is not really a problem, but people sometimes outline that sometimes it's hard. There's also the language, right? Although in India you have a native English, the English is really different from the American English. So although people really don't speak natively English in the Americas, I mean in these nearshore regions, we learned the American English, right? So obviously I'm not a native. You see that I have some struggles here and there. I'm always trying my best, but you also can realize that my English is more similar to the American English. So it's kind of easier to communicate with me, weirdly, than sometimes with an Indian. But also because of this, because of the way they think, the way they are. There are a clear difference between those cultures and the Western culture. Everybody knows that. So obviously sometimes it can be a struggle too in terms of communication. Although again, this is not something that is stopping America and Europe to take services from India, China. All right. Let me summarize that for you. So in offshore region, will have cheaper pricing, which is great. You have all sorts of expertise for probably any technology in the world, okay? But you also have some problems of communication. The time zone is really different. And nearshore, you have similar time zones sometimes. If we're talking about the West Coast, and if you compare with Brazil, we're going to have a difference of 3-4 hours. So it's not the ideal, but still is better than 12-13 hours, something like that, right? We also have in nearshore region the similar culture, way of thinking, the values are really similar. So well, this is not weird. It's kind of the same people, right? Although there are some differences. There are some differences between states in America. So obviously there will be differences between country in the Americas region. We have difference between Canada and the US, Mexico and the US, Mexico and Canada. We have like 20 different types of Spanish in the American regions. So the Spanish that are being spoke in Mexico is completely different from the Spanish in Spain and the Spanish in Argentina, in Uruguay, and so on. All right? So I hope this was helpful. I hope this video is useful. Sometimes it's not really organized, but I guess you got the idea. So these are the main differences between offshore staffing and nearshore staffing. All right, I work with nearshore staffing, so if you need anything, just let us know and I'll be really glad and really honored to help you guys. All right, thank you. See you. Bye.